Hello, there are a lot of factors that can cause a cancer, so biological, chemical, physical, and also genetic, and some drugs, some medications, and a lot of factors. So it would not be easy to give a complete list of these factors, but we are trying to give you as much as possible. The most abundant and also the most frequent, and also the most hazardous factors, and before you can avoid them, it would be better to know about them than to not know. Today we'll talk about another list of some chemicals that are widely used, and they use it in many areas. And we start by the asbestos. You know that the asbestos is very dangerous and very hazardous, and is a cancer cause. And it's involved in the lung cancer. Not only lung cancer, but lung cancer now we have too much research, too much paper research now on it. But many other cancer that it can cause, many other cancer, many other types of cancer. Asbestos was used in the old building for isolating some pipes and some materials, and it was also used on some electric materials. It was used already isolated materials for keeping the heat or for not so the refrigeration. And some materials are still now so using this asbestos. Even there is a limitation, there is a regulation about the use of asbestos. It was also used in some cosmetics and in some pencils. Some pencils are for writing also. Anyway, you can get a deep idea and deep information from the net about the asbestos. People should know about it. The second chemical is the arsenic, and you know the arsenic is a contaminated material of the soil, of the water, and it might also contaminate some crops and some cereals and some grains like rice. Now, rice is now the most contaminated, most contaminated vegetal material. That is rice. That because it's heavily, and it's because it's heavily irrigated or watered by what it might require too much water, the rice, and it might absorb and concentrate the arsenic. Arsenic is a natural contaminant of some fertilizers, and it might in the industry or phosphoric acid and the industry or from some fertilizer that the arsenic is released in some wastes, and these wastes now are used in some buildings, and so and workers now who are getting in contact with these wastes that should pay attention because they are very heavily contaminated by arsenic. The arsenic is also a carcinogenic factor, and it's a very hazardous metal that people should know about it. And we talk also about benzene. The benzene is a solvent, benzene and chloroform, but benzene is widely used in some companies, and used also in some research centers, in laboratory. It's a hazardous reagent. It's a solvent widely used in some laboratories, and the searching staff, including searchers and technicians and all people now working in laboratories, they should protect themselves from not only from benzene and chloroform, but from all the solvents and all the hazardous reagents. We know that we have in laboratory that we have a hood, and we have some protection like putting a mask on the nose and not breathing these. But you cannot avoid, you cannot not breathe the vapor that come from a flask when you open a flask of chloroform or benzene of any solvent. So that you have to open it in the hood, And these solvents are also hazardous, and they are cancer cause. And so benzene and chloroform. Chloroform is also used by farmers for cause, and use it in sanitation because it's a strong microbial inhibitor, a strong material antimicrobial. It's an antibacterial agent. So chloroform is used in sanitation, and it's used in many areas by some companies and some societies now who are cleaning and so making some in some societies, and they are working with chloroform, and it's widely used. Chloroform is widely used. So, and people have to pay attention. So they have to pay attention, and they have to know everything about these dangerous and these hazardous compounds. And some, although there is arsenic and another metal, also beryllium, and beryllium now is used in the aeronautic industry for the planes equipments, and also used for the industry of aluminium and copper. and workers and employees and workers and people working in these factories, in these plants, so should know about beryllium. It's a carcinogenic factor and it's very hazardous. Anyway, there is some security in these factories, so they have to respect the security of people, but so at least the employees and workers now are getting in contact with beryllium. They should have a check everywhere because they can get some health troubles from the beryllium. It's very hazardous. It's a very hazardous metal. And some gases like radon now is freed from the soil. Is a natural gas that comes before the earthquake. You know that the soil, that it comes from the soil, and there are heavy amounts of radon, because it might come from the breakdown of the thorium metal, and the radon gas now, it's a natural contaminant in many areas that when we have too much earthquakes, that's some heavy release of the radon, and radon is also a carcinogenic also gas. And the vinyl chloride is also a very dangerous, very hazardous chemical. The gas, it's a gas. The vinyl chloride is a gas. It's used in the industry of plastic and for making pipes and for making some plastic equipment and some plastic wares. And all people working in these plants, in these factories, and also people now living around or near these factories, they should check and they should know about the vinyl chloride. It's very hazardous, vinyl chloride. And some other chemical compounds. Now the list now, it's not so it's not easy. It's not easy to give a complete list and to talk about all the chemical materials. That's so. But chloroform, vinyl chloride, beryllium, arsenic, asbestos, benzene, and these things are very hazardous, and they are very dangerous. That's so DDT, also the DDT, but now there is a limitation for the use of DDT as a pesticides, but many other countries are still using the DDT, and so farmers and the people now are getting in contact with DDT should pay attention, and there is a heavy pollutant of crops and also of the soil and some water in water streams. So you can find DDT in water, and so some biological factors also, and we should talk about should not forget the main causes of cancer, which are smoking and alcohol. Alcohol is very toxic for the body. You know that alcohol is involved in the liver cancer. Not only the liver cancer, it's involved in all the diseases in the body, not many troubles in the body. And the alcohol is toxic. So aldehyde, ketones, the chemical functions like alcohol, ketones, amide. That's so these functions are toxic. And the ketones, aldehydes, alcohols, and amide. So they are very toxic. And alcohol and smoking. But we have smokers and second-hand smoking and third-hand smoking. You know, there are many of them. Now, the smokers are mostly involved in the cancer of lungs and cancer of any other organs. But the second-hand, you know, that people live in with these smokers, also we call them the second-hand smokers. And the second-hand smoking is also hazardous. It's very dangerous, that because they smoke 50 to 60% of the tobacco burning. That when you burn the tobacco, that you get benzene, you get some chemicals that are very dangerous. More than 400 now are being identified in the laboratory. That's not it's not easy to. And the third hand, that people now working in cleaning, and so in some you know that you have an ashtray, the ashtray in your office, the ashtray in your house, the ashtray in your car, and so and this equipment may absorb some chemicals from the smoking, and we call them the third-hand smokers. So smokers and the second-hand and third-hand, but people should have an idea about this. Should have an idea, so that because we are living in a time where the situation now is being more complicated with the modern life, and we should know everything about these chemicals who are now surrounding and killing us. So. And the biological factors that may include some viruses and bacteria. There is only one bacteria that can cause cancer, the stomach cancer, which is the HP, Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori is the only one bacteria that can cause a cancer. But after 5 years, 7 years, and 10 years, that when it's not treated, but people have to stop this bacteria at least, that because it's very hard to treat, and so it really has to get rid from the irritation of the Helicobacter pylori, but so at least that we can stop it, and people should manage themselves that to not have problems with this bacteria. Now it's widely now, a lot of people throughout the world are suffering from this bacteria. So, because it's the bacteria of the modern society. The only one bacteria that can cause cancer, the stomach cancer, that we have many research now. We have some papers now published on the HP as a cause of cancer. So it's confirmed. And some viruses like the HPV, the human papilloma virus from the uterus in ladies, and I know that ladies now, because the doctors and physicians they tell them so, and also the hepatitis and the hepatitis B and C, the virus of hepatitis also is a carcinogenic virus, it's oncologic virus, and so the research we have now it's after 20 years that people can get a liver cancer, so cirrhosis. But now with other factors now that the virus now can be combined with other chemical factors or physical factors, and the cancer of liver now can people can contract liver cancer in less time than before. So in 5 years and 7 years, when they have a virus of hepatitis even B or C, and people should check, and they have to attention at least things that they cannot do anything for the virus, but things that they can do, and they should avoid all the chemical and the hazardous chemicals they may take, like medications and some food, and so that in water and food they have a clean food, bio food, and homemade food. All people now contracting or having the HBC and the hepatitis B or C, and they should have clean food and only healthy food. Because there are many other factors that can be combined to this virus, and so the cirrhosis of liver, the cancer of liver that can appear, or they can so in a short time, in 5 years or 7 years. There are many other viruses like the Epstein-Barr. So now the Epstein-Barr is also a virus that can cause a cancer, but now these viruses that your doctor and your physician that may tell you about these viruses, and also that just to give much information and several information as much as possible that we as I told that we cannot give a complete list of these factors, but at least that so we gave them the most frequent and the most abundant in our time, our modern society, our modern. And we are living now in a complicated situation that there's some factors we can avoid them. So like the food, we can eat healthy food, we can cook at home, and so. But there are many of them that we cannot control, that we cannot avoid. So that the pollution of the air by some radiations and by some chemicals and by some dust and by some chemical gases and so on. And also in house that we have many products like cosmetics and some cleaning, so the bleach and the cleaning materials that we are using, and also some equipment in the house we are using. So in many cases that we can avoid most of them, so more than 70% that we can avoid them. So, but 20 to 30% of these factors that we cannot avoid, unfortunately, but people should pay attention. So if they can, that's okay. That would be better for them. So until another episode, see you. Assalamu alaikum.